Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. Welcome to today's live level up conversation. Whether you're tuning in live or joining me on replay, it's so great to have you here. Let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hi, friends. I'm Winnie, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC contributor and council member. And I'm so pleased to be joining you live. Thanks so much for making the time. I see so many of you, wow, on so many of the different platforms. It's awesome to be here with you on Thursday. Let's get started and let you know how the market's doing because actually there's some good things to share, right? The Dow's currently up 679 points. Nasdaq's up 441 points, and the S&P 500 is up over 100 points as well, up 116 points approximately. We've got about 45 minutes left to go before the market closes, but it looks like it'll probably end on a positive note here. Now, as you know, it's been a really rocky week. Talk about starting off pretty, in the negative, and then now we're continuing on. Yesterday was pretty good too. There's definitely been some rebounds in the area of technology. So we've seen a lot of the technology names doing better today, but also the labor market. We got to talk about that. So the jobless claims for the week fell to 233,000, which was below the forecasted number of 240,000. But again, this is helping to boost investor confidence in the strength of the US labor market here as well. Now, one thing I will say that I think people are kind of excited about is that the 30-year fixed mortgage is actually down. The rate of the mortgage is now, I just read online that it's under 6% in many areas for the 30-year fix. So that's a good sign too, because it's at very, very high levels. The 10-year treasury yield has also increased to 3.99%, which of course reflects that positive market sentiment as well as the jobless claims report that we just talked about. And also, one of the things that has benefited the financial markets the last 2 days is, of course, the weaker Japanese yen versus the US dollar. Now, for those of you who are traveling abroad, perhaps you're going to Asia to visit Tokyo or whatnot, you may benefit from the stronger US dollar. But this news, of course, helped to stabilize the financial markets, which actually helped reverse some of the negative effects we've been seeing earlier this week on the financial markets. Now, so despite today's gains, of course, many investors still are very much cautious. And if you feel that way too, maybe you feel nervous, not feeling great about the financial markets, you're certainly not alone. But there's still time to be seen what's going to happen in the next few weeks as we go into we're very much in election season right now. Let's see how the elections fare in November. Now, speaking of new things, this one I want to share with you. I thought this was such a cute story. And of course, something pretty cool that's always on the news. We're going to talk about Apple today. Apple is sharing their brand new Mac Mini. And let me just say, this Mac Mini is truly mini now. It is so cute. It is smaller. It has an AI enhanced M4 chip. Okay. This was shared on Bloomberg. It is now the smallest Mac Mini ever. It is so cute. I saw a side by side comparison of the current Mac Mini versus the one that's projected to come out soon. This is going to feature the new M4 chip. If you thought the M1 was quick, I'm looking forward to see how fast this M4 is going to be. The M4 chip is going to be the first major redesign on the Mac Mini since the 2010. And so the new Mac Mini and, of course, other Mac models will now all be equipped with this brand new M4 chip that they said is definitely going all in on AI. Just going to have M4. This M4 processors are designed to handle more of the AI features, and this is going to be standardizing the chip generation across all Macs for the first time. So this new Mac Mini will be, as you can see, significantly smaller. So it's going to approach almost the size of an Apple TV box. Remember that? But it's possibly going to be taller than the current 1.4-inch high model, but it's going to still have that nice, shiny, pretty aluminum shell that those of you who have an old Mac Mini have enjoyed. The updated Mini will also include now 3 USB-C ports and an HDMI port, power cable, of course, and others, so that way you can really run everything that you need to run. So Apple is also preparing new versions of the iMac, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, Mac Pro, and the Mac Studio. They say it was all going to feature the brand new blazing M4 chip. So, yeah, I guess that just made my M1 laptop very, very old. But that's okay. I still love it. And I still think it's super powerful. So I can only imagine how quick this M4 beast is going to be. But now they said there's going to be 2 versions of the new Mac Mini in development. So there's going to be, I guess, a base model with the standard M4 chip, and then they're going to make a higher end model with the M4 Pro chip, which is going to offer users better graphics, more memory. I can't even imagine how fast that'd be. I'm just getting you're basically going to press something and it's just going to, right? I see Cross-Tech Spider. It's great to see you on YouTube Live. I see Vicky Garvey joining us on Facebook Live as well. Thanks so much for joining us. Can you imagine how quick these chips are going to be on these new devices? It's incredible. I will say this, as fast as our computers are, one of the things that still makes them run not as fast some of the times is our internet and our Wi-Fi, right? So I think not only do we want our computers to run quickly, but we want to make sure that that technology continues to stay up to speed to be able to use your devices to their full potential too. There was one time recently where where I was completely offline, but I was using my laptop to do some real basic photo editing, and I was just surprised how much faster it was when I was completely offline. So I don't know, one of those things. So Apple is definitely planning to, of course, revive sales, and which me may have heard it slowed once the pandemic began. But of course, they want to make sure to boost performance, make sure that people are still excited about their products, and we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. We'll see how the news comes, and I guess it's gonna be very, very soon because we're in fall, and this is sort of when Apple makes their big announcement. Anyways, I'm sure we'll hear more about that as well. Now, speaking of things that are in the news, and this is the one that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, but I want to talk about student loans once again, and about not just student loans, but expectations and how it's kind of changed culturally. Now, when you talk to a student or someone who's recently graduated or someone who's graduated a long time that still has student loans, the discussions have certainly changed. In the past, it was like, oh, I have so many student loans, and yeah, I still have so much debt, and I feel overwhelmed and this and that. But now, when you talk to people about their student loans, the discussion is slightly different. Now they have a lot of hope and optimism that perhaps their debt's going to be forgiven. In fact, a lot of people seem to feel that way. Sally Mae recently released a study showing that nearly half of student loan borrowers are expecting debt forgiveness. This is shared on CNBC by my friend Annie Nova, talking about 48% of student loan borrowers, in fact, are expecting or anticipating that their debt could be forgiven. This is according to the study, Sally Mae's How America Pays for College report. So consumer advocates are warning against, of course, borrowing decision based on assumption that you're going to get your debt forgiven. Like, you shouldn't borrow too much. You shouldn't want to overextend yourself just because you think that your debt's going to be forgiven. Like, it just might not be. Perhaps many will this year, millions in fact, but will that continue? That's really something that, as a young person or a person going into getting higher education today, needs to be needs to be cautious about. So tens of millions actually did not receive debt cancellation after the Supreme Court did reject President Biden's plan to forgive $20,000 in student debt per borrower. In fact, the upcoming presidential election, depending on which way it goes, could certainly have quite a bit of impact on the forgiveness programs for student loans. And past proposals from former President Trump included eliminating programs like public service loan forgiveness. So the Biden administration's Save Repayment Plan, which promises, of course, quick forgiveness, is still currently on hold due to many legal challenges. So that's something to just keep in mind. Now let's continue on, and I want to talk about really the rising cost of college. Now this is another article shared on CNBC by my other friend Jessica Dickler, and this is a great one. With the college costs, of course, soaring, many families are turning to student loans to fill in the financial gap. According to another new study, most families, of course, use a sort of a mix between some of the monies that parents own or are earning in their jobs and savings that they might have from back in the day or they've been saving along the way. It could be a combination of student savings as well and student loans, perhaps scholarships, and some students even receive grants to kind of help with that. And so at some schools, the tuition college expense is approaching about $100,000 a year, which is crazy. So families are spending so much money, right? But there's been a shift in spending. Families are now spending less out of pocket and they're actually relying more on student loans and borrowing money, with an increase in parents taking out federal plus loans to help support their kids' education. So of course, students can take out loans, but parents can also take out loans for this purpose. So, economic challenges they have found have led to more families having to depend on borrowing, which highlights really the importance of the free application for federal student aid, which is the FAFSA. Now, if you're a student or you're a parent and you have someone going to college pretty soon or in the next few years, you might be wondering the same thing is how are you going to pay for college? I just want you to remember that as soon as you find out your student has decided and committed to a specific college or higher education, university, community college, whatever it may be, it's really important for you to jump on the FAFSA application because, you know, now problems with the new FAFSA actually have discouraged a lot of applicants, with only 29% of families have found it easier to complete the FAFSA, which has led to delays in financial aid decisions and offers for students. And because of the significant drop in FAFSA submissions, give you an idea of how much of a difference, we're talking 10.8 million submissions versus 17 million in previous years. This has definitely delayed a lot of aid distribution, and a lot of students are not getting their information that they need in terms of how much they're getting for financial aid for their college expenses. So despite issues with FAFSA, though, rising costs and of course a lot of uncertainty that we're thinking about with loan forgiveness, many parents still continue to believe that college education is worth the investment. I do as well. I'm a big fan of education. And I do think can come in different forms. And I definitely understand that college expenses are very, very high. But I do think if you are in the pursuit of higher education, there is a way to do it for you. Now, it may not be for your neighbor, it may not be for your previous um, you know, fellow students in high school. But if you want an education, there are ways to do it, and it can be maybe just a non-traditional route. So I'll give you an example. Community college in most states is free, and it can give you a great quality education, and it can help mitigate some of what you need to pay for in a typical 4 year, right? You could take care of a lot of your general ed classes. You can pursue some areas you have interest in. You can help boost your education even in high school. Like my son is in high school and he is doing dual enrollment in community college because that's going to help not only lessen how much he's going to have to pay for college, and we're going to help some, I'm sure, and also it saves him some time in college so that he can spend more time maybe taking classes that have a real interest in what he wants to study and what he wants to do in his future career. So just keep that in mind. If there is a way that you want to do this, there are different ways to think about it. So the percentage of parents saving for college has risen. So that's good news. To 74% in 2024. That's up quite a bit because in 2007, that number was around 58%, which reflects now just a growing emphasis on preparing and planning ahead for higher education. And of course, many times people feel that that is overwhelming and that like they're too late. I hear that all the time. People will say, oh, I feel like I'm so behind on the ball. Well, the good news is if you decide you want to do it, there are a lot of resources help you, and definitely, you can definitely put in comments and reach out. Happy to talk to you about it. All right, let's go ahead and talk to you about our next story. And this is, we're still very much in summer. I know many of you still have students who are maybe home during the summer, not in school, maybe back from college. Maybe you're watching and you're back from college, or you're on your summer vacation from school, or maybe you have kids at home or grandkids at homes. Well, I know many people have chosen the route of Airbnbs or short-term rentals versus like hotels, because I've heard from many people they like creature comforts. They like having, maybe bigger, I don't know, better parking, or like the washer dryer, or things that you might need when you travel, especially for longer trips. Well, unfortunately, it looks like there's been quite a bit of weakness when it comes to vacation rentals and Airbnbs. So Airbnb has seen definitely a pullback, significant pullback for people in the way that they travel. In fact, and they've had a disappointing second quarter, showing that many people now aren't necessarily renting Airbnbs as much as they were previously. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, let me know how you feel about that. There's been a lot of shift in the world of travel. Airbnb, in fact, has seen that there's definitely more people now opting for traditional hotels and motels over short-term rentals. In fact, they're noting that um, shorter booking lead times globally, and of course, decrease in demand here in the United States has hinted a shift in the preferences on how we travel. Now, I will say this as someone who's traveled and stayed at both. I still stay at Airbnbs now and then, but I will say I do like the safety feeling that of staying at hotels, right? You can check in all hours of the day. There's somebody at the front desk. If you have a real need, I mean, there's a lot of resources that a typical hotel or motel can offer. And I will say there was one time that we booked an Airbnb last year, I believe. And we checked in late because we were driving to that destination, and we couldn't get into the property. And the owner had fallen asleep. And literally took us hours to finally get into the property. And I think that was one of the times where like, this is where a hotel would have been very, very convenient. And I think the following year, we then did stay in a hotel after that experience. But yeah, so that gives you an idea of some of the things that could go wrong. Not to say that hotels don't have things that go wrong either, but I think that some I've been seeing on different social media platforms. Those are some of the things that people have talked about. Of course, it doesn't help that we've also seen in the news how there have been certain stories on TikTok. Even people have found to have hidden cameras and strict rules, and even having to like clean and do all these things before you check out an Airbnb versus a little bit easier perhaps with a hotel. So yeah, that's why. I mean, I'm curious to see how you feel about that. How has that impacted your travel? Have you stayed in Airbnb? Will you stay in an Airbnb soon? And like, dislike, prefer hotel? What do you like? I mean, as someone with a larger family, because I've got 3 kids, for us, it does help to have like more space, right? That's just a reality of it, having more than one restroom that the entire family can use. But that being said, we have found ourselves now over and over again definitely sticking with hotels, and not just hotels, but major hotel chains that have nice loyalty programs as well. All right, but before I jump into the markets, I want to just do a big shout out to our friends at Rode. Rode is who handles my like Rodecaster, which is my soundboard, so I can actually share my audio here with all of you today. Let me just say, I sent in something for a repair that I thought I might have to buy a brand new board. Well, I sent it in on Thursday. They received it on Friday. They sent it back to me. I received it back this week. Incredible. So a big shout out to Rode. Thank you so much for your support. Truly, truly appreciate. Great company. Thank you so much for making sure that I can continue to go live with audio. I appreciate you so much for that. Okay, let's take a look at the market. Dow is currently up 575 points. Nasdaq is up 380 points, and the S&P 500 is still up over 100 points. So we'll take that. Market's about to close in about 25 minutes or so. But thank you so much, my friends, for being a part of today's live level up. And we are, of course, here on many social media platforms. So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest content. And of course, if you would like to watch past episodes of Level Up, we have some really fun ones. We have interviews and whatnot. You can definitely check us up on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And when sharing the episode online, thank you so much for tagging at Winnie Sun. I see them. I so appreciate them. And I'm going to definitely come back and thank you very, very soon. And of course, you want to check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts. I'd appreciate that too. Have a beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye now.